Hello everyone, this is my report in Readings in the Philippine History. Asian migrations. According to Prof. Bayers, three Asian peoples, the Negritos, Indonesians, and the Malays migrated to the Philippines long ago. The first inhabitants came to our country about 22,000 BC from mainland Asia via the land bridges. These kinky, dark-haired, and black-skinned pygmies had a primitive culture which belonged to the Paleolithic age. They were nomadic, and hunting was their chief activity. They had no government, had no system of laws, no writing or arts, and had no sciences. Fruit gathering and root crops supplemented their sources of food. The Indonesian came into the Philippines in two waves. The first wave at about 3000 BC and the second wave at about 1000 BC. They were both people who brought with them their Neolithic age culture. They lived in organized settlements, had primitive system of customary laws, and introduced crude agriculture and mining. They also knew how to use copper tools and implements hunting, fishing, and root and fruit gatherings were the other sources of livelihood. The Indonesians were the ancestors of the ethnic groups of the northern Luzon, namely the Ibanags, Kalingas, Gadangs, Apayons, Ipugaos, and the Igorots. They were taller, slender, and fairer in comparison with the Negritos. The Indonesian developed a system of subsistence economy and that provided them barely enough for their needs. The fertility of the soil and abundance of natural resources give them the national resources to exist on a day-to-day basis. The Malays came in three waves. The first group brought their mining and smelting technologies in their agricultural system. They were headhunters who chiefly depended in hunting, fishing, and fruit gathering. They developed terrace agriculture with elaborate irrigation system. The second group brought their syllabary system of writing. They were called the alphabet using Malays. The third group composed the Muslim Malays. They introduced Islam in the Philippines, advanced culturally and economically than the Indonesians. Their culture belonged to the iron and porcelain periods. They lived in organized communities called the barangay. They had domestic and foreign barter trade, practiced wet agricultures, and had industries such as mining, smelting, fishing, lumbering, pottery, weaving, and shipbuilding. Most of the Malay settlements were coastal or riverine in location. This was the main source of food came from rivers and seas, and hunting became a secondary sources. Furthermore, people principally traveled by water. Lastly, such location of the settlements contributed to the accessibility to domestic and foreign traders. The first Filipino. The first known Filipino is the Tabon man who lived in Palawan at about 22,000 BC. The Tabon man was of medium height and had a high eyebrows and slapping forehead, two prominent characteristics of a much earlier prehistoric man, the Java man and the Peking man. His survival depended on the forest fruits, roots, and edible plants, and on the hunting of the wild animals with these crude implements. The level of the existence of these first humans is characterized by constant struggle against nature. His homonization process includes adaptability to climate and habitat, and the defense against the wild animals and sometimes from other hostile tribes. Character traits of the Filipinos: hospitable, gentle, and peaceful. The Filipinos are gentle and hospitable people. They considered it a privilege to be able to offer help and friendship to all foreigners, including former enemies who came to the country. They overdo their hospitality to a fault that some aliens tend to misconstrue such action as a sign of racial inferiority. Some Filipinos even went to extent
of calling good time lady entertainers in ermita red lights, district as hospitality girls, which of course is a misnomer. The greatness of the Filipinos is seen in their proverbial, ubiquitous smile. They smile even in times of crisis. They attend serious rallies as if they were attending picnics. A cursory glance at throng in very rally demonstration and one will surely see smiling faces. Foreign correspondents and observers who visited the country during first 2 years of martial law described the imposition as smiling martial law. The peaceful character of Filipino could be traced through the numerous blood compacts, by the treaties of friendship, and through the pledges of cooperation made between Filipinos and foreigners. In our history as a people, perhaps, we are the only country in the world where cups d'etats were just acoustic encounters between the government forces and the cup plotters. It was neither a miracle nor cowardice for the both combatants in 7 cups mounted against the Cory government that the total numbers of casualties did not exceed 200 despite the use of modern and heavy weapons by both sides. Religiosity. Filipinos are deeply spiritual and religiously devoted. According to recent findings of Social Weather Station, it showed that about 8 out of 10 Filipinos have strong beliefs about their religion, and these beliefs are stronger the more urbanized the area. The same survey noted that 86% of the Filipinos have no doubts at all about the existence of God, and that 78 of them believe that the courses of their lives is decided by God. Females pray more frequently than males, and the older generations pray more frequently than the younger generations. The best indicator of Filipinos' deep-seated religiosity can now be seen through the regular attendance of the multitude of the devotees in El Shaddai prayer meetings every Saturday, and the Amvel Business Park in Parañaque. Storm or shine, El Shaddai devotees crowd the park to the rim. Millions of the Filipinos are also members of the Iglesia ni Cristo, a homegrown religion which is independent in Vatican. The Jesus is Lord and the Jesus Miracle Crusade movements are non-Catholic groups that have a present more than a million members. Loyalty and gratitude. Filipinos are loyal and grateful to friends who are good and ever reliable in both good times and in advertised. The phrase mabuting kaibigan, masamang kaaway seems to be a typical Filipino in terms with their relationship with others. Filipinos are ever grateful in their benefactors, and their utang na loob will be subsequently expressed in ways like making the benefactors a godfather or godmother to weddings or baptism of children. Almost 20 years have already passed since the Marcos era, but his loyalists continue to support the Marcos family and elections. These Marcos minions regularly stage demonstrations or lobby actions in support of any Marcos-oriented cause. Also, in May 1, 2001, the massa loyalists of deposed President Joseph Estrada riot and rampage along Mendiola to the gates of Malacanang in protest against what they perceived as government mistreatment of their idol and benefactor. That's all, thank you.